What is step 3 of the 8-step pattern? Hi guys, my name is Jeff Gamble. My background is actually in traditional business. I have a real estate company, massage therapy practice, also John C. Maxwell, speaker, trainer, and coach, and former network marketer. And today what we're going to talk about is the third step in the 8-step pattern. The 8-step pattern that was actually developed by Dexter Yeager, one of the most successful network marketers in the history of the industry. He's made more money than anybody that I know in the industry. It exceeds $400 million in commissions. So what is this third step? How do we make it happen? Number one, you got to define your dream. That's of the 8-step pattern. Number one, define your dream. Number two, make some commitments. We talked about that in the last video. Number three is make your list. Now, I'm going to hit this from two different angles real quick. I'm going to hit it from angle number one. You, as an individual, want to make this happen. You, as an individual, want to make money in this industry. Consider the list your inventory. That is the most important thing in the business. Your inventory, who you're going to talk to. And you say, well, I don't know anybody. Well, let me tell you where I was at when I got started. I was 17 years old when I got started. 17. At 17, I had no money. At 17, I had no car. At 17, I had no cell phone. Not because I didn't want one or, I had no money so I couldn't buy one. But the cool thing was they didn't exist at that time anyway. So it really didn't matter. They had the bag phone, which was really cool. I mean, if you were really cool, you had a bag phone or a car phone. It came in a duffel bag like this big, and a cord came out of it. I mean, not cool to walk around the mall with, or really anywhere else. It wasn't just a good thing, but we didn't even have it. So my list that I started, do you think I had a lot of friends at 17 that would be jumping into business? I actually was stupid. I thought that everybody would be interested. I was wrong. So I listed the people I knew: my mom, dad, brother, sister, aunt, uncle. I had those 6 people in my head I thought were going to do it. So I wrote them down. I mean, I was very optimistic. I thought, well, I had 3 expectations that were totally wrong. First of all, this is the greatest thing in the world. Everybody's going to want to do it. Secondly, anybody that I get in front of is going to want to get in. And third, everybody that gets in is going to want to do it. If you're brand new and still think like that, I'm sorry. I'll be the first to warn you, it doesn't work quite the way you think. It's going to take some more work. So here's your list. You can do this. Is what I'm kind of saying is I was able to turn around and recruit over 500 people frontline, build teams of over 8,000 customers with basically that start. So you have hope if you're this much more qualified than me. I'm a slow learner. I did not pick this stuff up quickly. I spent a lot of time in the back of the room taking notes, pissed off. So if you're at that point, great. Frustration is close to a breakthrough. Let's put it that way. So what do you do? Number one is, in today, you go on Facebook and you open up Facebook and you look at who has friended you. Does it mean you know every single person? No. It does not mean you know every single person. What it means is you're going to get a notebook. I'm just going to use one that I have right here. You're going to get a notebook. This is a college notebook. It has a couple hundred pages in it. And I always space, 1, skip a space, 2, skip a space, 3, skip a space. I'm going to put that back real quick. And you're going to list 1 through however many people are on your friends list. Now, some of you have 5,000 people and have maxed it out. You're going to do okay. Because if you just think about it, think about how many people are on Facebook right now, 1.56 billion. You have hope. Especially if your company not only works in the United States, but works outside the United States or is going outside the United States, you have hope. There's plenty of people to talk to. In fact, I will pretty much bet on this that you could build to probably $10,000 a month within the local cities within 2 hours of where most of you live. You could probably build to $10,000 a month. Now, to get it past $10,000 a month, you're going to have to build outside that, and we'll talk about how to do that in another video. But right now, your list. How many people should you put on your list? As many as you possibly can. It's your inventory. It is your database. The database. And this is funny because if you understand how this works, this is how every successful business makes it. When you go into any store right now, I'm just trying to think of the last store. I was in the Nike store. I'm not promoting Nike. I'm just saying I was in their store and I bought something. And when I bought something, they asked me for an email. Now, what were they doing? They were building their list. Their list. Now, I also went to Burlington Coat Factory. Ironically, they really don't sell coats. They sell everything else in the world. And before I left, they were like, well, can I have a name and an email so in case you want to return this? They were building their list. Their list. Have you ever gotten one of those surveys from a gas station or a restaurant? They were building their list. How do you make money in marketing, in sales? You build your list. Now I'm going to tell you some things to do with your list that nobody's ever told you to do with your list later. But right now you need to build a list. You want their name. And ideally, their phone number or a way to get in contact with them. If Facebook is all you have to get in contact with them, that's okay. Some people use Facebook more than they actually use a phone or text message or anything else. And people are like, well, I Snapchat everybody. Well, I don't fucking know how to do that, but if that's what you use it, you know? Some people are like, well, I drive over to everybody's house. Some people would show up on a horse. People send a pigeon. I don't care how you do it. Just figure out how you know them, who they are, how you know them, and then the way you're going to get in contact with them. So that way you have that list. That list is your inventory. What you're building is the group of people that you're going to go through. Not necessarily go to. You have to go to them to go through them to find the right person. Now, here's what I want to tell you about this list. Some people are like, well, I don't want to put my grandmother on the list. You know, now if she's no longer with us, obviously you wouldn't put her down. Or you might want to put her down because it might bring up 3 or 4 other family members you might think of. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, like, we're not going to contact her if she's gone. But what I am saying is you might want to list her if it makes you think of other people. So you want to list everybody. And you're like, well, I have a niece and a nephew. One of them's, he's going on 3 or 4, and the other one is like 7, going on 8. 15, I don't know how old she is. The last time I was playing some video game on the phone, she's like, you're horrible at this. I was like, how old are you? She's like, 7. I'm like, you shouldn't even own a phone. That's totally off the subject. But back to this, you want to list everybody. I even listed them. Why? Because they have parents, obviously my brother and his girlfriend. And also, not only do they have parents, they have parents of their parents, and they have school teachers and everybody else that I could think of to contact. So you list everybody. Why? I'm not going to that person to try to sell them. I'm going to that person to go through them to find the right person. And we're going to talk tomorrow about inviting and contacting, or contacting and inviting. So that way we can learn exactly what to say to these people. I'm not talking about what to say to them. I'm saying you want to list everybody, because if your grandmother's still around, if you showed her what we do and said, do you know of anybody that this would be a good fit for? Could you possibly learn about what I do so if you run into somebody, you could refer them to me? They might go, yeah, I mean, your family's likely to refer you. Now, does it mean that I want to recruit my mom and have my mom with me building the business every minute going, you're going to call that person? Now, she doesn't do it exactly like this, but she's like, are you really going to call that person? That person's never done anything in their whole life. Let me tell you a whole story about them. And my mom doesn't do that. I'm just saying I do have, some family members that they would do that. I could just imagine, are you going to keep ticking that pen the whole time? Some people you don't necessarily want to be in business with is what I'm saying. But you do want to show them what you do. So just in case they know what you do, they could refer you if they ran into the right person. That's what I'm saying. So why do you want to put everybody down? Because everybody is a link to a leader, or everybody that you talk to could be a leader or could be a link. They're one or the other. So that's the way I look at the whole business, is either they're a leader, a possible leader, or a link to a leader. Meaning they're going to refer me to the right person. Now, we'll talk about how to talk to them. We'll talk about how to get there, because so far probably what you did is you tried to sell that person and you tried to get that person in. That's not what you're supposed to do. We're going to talk about what you're supposed to do in the next video, in the following video. But this video in particular, you want to know how to build your list. So, what is the third step? The third step is create your database. Now, you're always in building your database mode. Always putting new people, finding business cards, learning what the person's name is. And we'll talk about how to meet other people on another video, but you're constantly adding to this list. You're constantly adding to your database, just like the grocery store does, just like the restaurant does, just like the retail store does, just like every single time you try to go online and enter anything, to ask a question, to figure something out. They're always collecting your name and they're always collecting your email because they are building their list. Do the same thing. Be a list creator so that way you can make money like all these companies. Now, What I want you to do is send this video out to somebody who needs it. Like this video, like my page, Work with Jeff Gamble. I appreciate everybody for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.